Okay, good morning. It's Friday. The weekend is finally here. You made it to the end of the week. You deserve to take a break. And with me this morning in the studio, Simphiwe.
Hello.
Hello, Sims. Looking very good.
Thank you.
Ready for the weekend. By the way, I didn't ask you, how's the gym going? Because I see you post every now and then.
Oh, yeah, it's going.
But you did like boxing and you've done all the stuff.
Yes, I do kick class every Saturday, and then I decided to add the step class to it,
Sure.
which is, it's showing me flames.
Overachiever.
No, I realize I have two left feet. I'm out of rhythm. I'm always huffing and puffing and can't keep up with
Doesn't
matter. But yeah, like the gym is still going. It's still a thing. Like we're still on it, Gareth. Like,
can I tell you something? The one place I never judge people's in the gym if they are doing whatever they can to like get into the shape they want to get into. I have no issue. You will never find me saying a rude thing about a person in a gym. But outside of there, lying on sofas, eating chips, I have a problem with those people.
You're a better human than I am. I do judge gym people. There are some that are on their phone the entire session. I'm like,
no,
and then they'll
different.
Post and be like, gym is so hectic. And I'm like, why are you lying?
Please.
Why are you lying?
Well, we've got a hell of a morning for you today. It's going to be a busy show. We got Ben popping by with a little bit of sport. We've got producer James and Flex busy working their asses off in the production booth over there. They never get any credit. They just get the blame when things go wrong. So morning, guys. Time for us to be, appreciative of what you do. Waking up all early.
Yeah.
It's a hard job. Oh, I bought something for the office.
Oh!
You're the office manager.
Yes.
So I thought, considering ours is the least politically correct office in the world.
HR, you don't want to walk into that office.
Like HR just doesn't go near our office. Yeah, I bought this.
Oh, yes.
You know where this is from, right?
Oh, yes.
Django. It's like so I love it. That's going to go right behind your desk. So,
oh, thank you. Thank you.
Trying to keep the place interesting and fun. We have a comedian popping by a little bit later on, which is always fun because you know what happens when we have comedians on the show. They come here and then they tell us all their mental health problems and they get depressed and they think we're a psychology session or something. I don't know. But today we're hopefully going to have a comedian who's actually got a sense of humor. That would be nice.
Yes. Who's in a good mood. You don't need to make us laugh. Just be in a good mood.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Exactly. All right. I see. Now, this is very bizarre. And I've got to go straight to the comment section on this because that is where all the crazy is found. Why is Bitcoin But making bread? He's baking bread at 5:30 in the morning.
All right, Nora Smith, we see you.
Huh? I think he must have a drug problem.
Like, why? I don't know.
Remember, you're baking bread at 5 a.m. Hey, boy.
But, I mean, it does take long because you have to wait for it to...
But been awake since 4.
Yes.
Maybe Bitcoin But is so busy, has so much to do during the day, that the only time that he gets to do what he really loves and all he wants in his life is to just be a baker. He wants to bake that bread fresh in the morning. That's his big dream. It's his ambition. He wants to have a little French patisserie one day. And this is when he gets to exercise his true joy. Reason, his raison d'être, his reason for being. I appreciate that. If that's true. I mean, I've just made up a whole story in my head. It might be lame. It might be nothing like that. But I like the idea that he's chasing his dreams. Good for you, Bitcoin But. You lead us all. You inspire us all.
We are proud of you.
Yes, yes. So apparently last night, I didn't watch any of it, but it was the State of the Nation address, the SONA, opening of Parliament with the GNU, Government of National Unity. I only saw the last little bit where Cyril said, literally he said, God bless South Africa, and then went off the stage. So I watched the last second of it. Seems to have gone well. See, the difficult thing now for all these opposition parties is they can't criticize him and like, that was a shit speech.
They really can't.
Because they're in his government, right? He's so clever. Because now they can't really moan. I love it. That went on yesterday. Donald Trump made a speech at the Republican National Convention, which went last night as well.
Have you seen the new trend?
No.
The Donald Trump trend. Now, all his supporters.
What?
Because was it the left ear where he got shot, right?
Right ear.
Right ear. Now they also are putting like this white, I don't know.
A pillow. An ear
pillow, yeah, wherever they go to the rallies and stuff.
Oh, thank God. Because someone sent me a clip of, and I don't know whether this is for real or not, but it looks like it on X, right behind Trump in the stadium that they were hosting the RNC at. There's a woman in a red dress behind him. She literally does this. She grabs herself by the pussy. And I'm like, I wonder where you learned that. That's not something you expected. He's so cool now. He's such a Chad that he literally gets people to grab themselves by the pussy. Winning. Also, his granddaughter made a speech at the Republican National Convention that's getting lots of attention. I saw a couple of people saying, you know what? If you can judge people by their children, which you can, then you can also judge them by their grandchildren. And she seems like a very smart, very capable, very independent, very confident young lady, in which case the Trump people, the Trump haters are going to loathe this. But she seems to be a good indication that he's not such a bad grandfather either. You know what? When you're winning, you got to take the W.
Yeah.
Take it, Donald. You're winning. This is your victory lap, way ahead of the elections. Okay. All of that was happening. I didn't pay attention to any of it, though, because it was my dad's birthday. So we had a little family dinner last night, which was lots of fun. The little nephews running around the house, and it was terrific. So I spent some family time, which is always nice. And my mom's doing something cool. She's actually going away without my dad. She's going away with a friend for a week. And I mean, I think it's hilarious because pretty much for all of my life, I cannot remember longer than if one of them was in hospital or, you know, on a business trip in my dad's case years ago. I can't remember a time where these two weren't away together or with each other at home. So I think it's going to be quite cool for my mom to do something different. I don't know how my dad feels about that. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we're gonna need an update on that and who did better? Who's the better parent on some? I didn't miss you.
Well, there won't be a whole lot of parenting, but the funny thing is, like, between my sister and my brother and I, we were all talking yesterday. We're like, who's gonna look after him while mom's away? No, I'll go there for supper on Tuesday. All right, I'll go on Wednesday. Why don't we take him to my house on Thursday? It's that kind of thing going on. So I think he'll be all right.
He'll be fine.
You know, it's weird how like the parent-child thing reverses at some point in age where the parent becomes the child becomes the parent. And I don't know if we're there yet. Certainly my parents would hate to hear that, but I think it's coming.
Oh, very soon. Before you know it, you're going to give them lectures on like, why were you guys out late?
Right. Yeah. What, you went to your friends until 1 a.m. drinking coffee?
Excuse me? Who does that? Terrible. Not you guys.
Terrible. So it is the weekend. I saw a clip on social media this morning about how tequila is the best drink for you. I think maybe that's a good idea to indulge in this weekend. But you have found out what South Africa's men's favorite drink is. Simphiwe. It's not what you think, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. I
immediately jumped to the conclusion of beer, brandy, whiskey. I would have been wrong on all of those.
Yes, I would like to start by saying a few weeks ago, I was like saying, we drink too much. This can't be our legacy. Like we are in the top 3 of these countries that are drinking bourgeois left, right, and center.
Yes.
Just to find out that during Men's Health Month, there was a survey conducted in South Africa.
Yes.
And the number 1 beverage is actually rooibos tea for men.
Ha! Look what I got here. Rooibos tea
at number 1 at 32%.
I would never have guessed that. For men in this country, they drink rooibos tea.
I was shook to my core. And then following is beer at 19%, and then coffee at 12%. So that's
unclaimed.
it didn't make it in the list. But I was so proud. I was like, shout out to the men of South You guys love your tea, you love your rooibos.
Wematlamin.
Umqombothi. Hey!
Wematlamin. Womboti.
Ala, ala.
I work hard every day to make beer. Umqombothi. All right, so rooibos is the thing.
Yes, it is. It is the go-to for South African men. So I'm proud of you guys. This is me giving you your flowers, saying
Very
I'm
nice.
actually impressed.
Very nice. In the comments section, Migs says, what happened to the Temu order, Gareth? Oh, listen, I told Simphiwe last week already. I am now, all the birthday presents, all the Christmas presents are all coming from there. But I'm going to put in like 2 or 3 big orders, and that's it for the year. And then I can just store them in the present cupboard, right?
Yes.
Because you get them now, then you're like, don't have to worry about that shit in December. And I'll tell you what, it's all arrived. Everything, nothing missing. The duties, taxes have gone up.
Yes.
All because of those selfish sons of bitches that take a lot. And which was the other one? I don't know. Anyway.
Shein, I think.
Shein, yeah. They're grumpy about Temu. But everyone's talking about Temu, right? Everyone. Even my brother last night, he's like, oh, have you been on Temu yet? I'm like, yeah. You told me about it, remember? He's like, oh, yeah, I did. With that mad, gambler look in his eyes. I love this.
Just don't get addicted.
Have you?
No, I actually have both the apps on my phone. I'm constantly looking at it, constantly scrolling like, oh, this is a great deal. This is great. But to actually put in an order, not done it.
That irritates the hell out of me. I can't stand it when women window shop. I don't understand.
And now I get to do it on my phone, right? I get to just look and be like, oh, this is nice. Oh, this would be great for summer. Oh, I think that, and then be like, no, girl, it's fine.
I do not get window shopping. And this is a major difference between men and women. Generally, obviously, there's going to be some dude in the comments now. He's like, I love window shopping. It's my favorite thing. But normally, guys hate window shopping. And they want to go into a shop, know exactly what they're there for, get it and get out.
Oh, then I'm the worst person to shop with, because even at the mall, I need to go to 4 or 5 shops.
And you like to feel everything.
Yes, and then I need to try it on and be like, oh, this dress is really nice. But hey, let me see if I go to the next shop, maybe I can find something better, maybe pants or shoes. And then we'll eventually come back to that other shop that I started with. Well,
I don't know if you're going to get addicted to online shopping in the same way. If you're one of those people who likes to feel, especially if you're buying clothes and things, some people don't want to buy clothes online. They find it way too nerve-wracking, and what if it's the wrong size? And I understand that. So maybe that's not the thing to do with these shopping sites. But I think that there's plenty of other stuff that you can buy that even if it's cheap shit, it's going to be a nice little gag gift for somebody. Fun. All right, so. On the issue of rooibos, Bitcoin But, who's busy baking bread, says, I was offended when my mother-in-law served me 5 roses because he loves rooibos. Okay. JP says, this message was proudly sponsored by Lipton. What about Oros, says Quiet Conversations?
It didn't make the least, I don't know.
Yes, when you're a kid. I don't know about you, Simphiwe, but when we were kids, you weren't allowed Coke and all of those expensive soft drinks. We got Oros.
Yes.
Yeah, in a jug.
Yes, or...
and very dilute. Do you remember with this much Oros and that much water? Never enough.
Yeah, so that was during the summertime. And then if you were lucky, you'd also then get it, they'd put it in the packets and then freeze it. And then it became an ice lolly that you could because we didn't buy ice cream at the time. Or
Who were the 17 gay guys who voted for tea, says Louis Kutsia.
Why are you hating?
Congo Chris says that is a lie. They're trying to psy-up us into drinking Zamalek. Less Zamalek, rather. Don't fall for it, gents. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Dud says I'm calling bullshit on Red Bush. Robos.
Oh, okay.
I also find this very bizarre. Rebellious Root says, I still so wish I could drink tequila. Had 5 too many one evening, didn't end well. Love a great margarita and a wonderful Jameson on the rocks. You know, I am tired of hearing people moan about that one bad experience they had with tequila and blaming the entire category for that drink, that bad experience, which, by the way, you usually do to yourself.
Yes.
Tequila didn't climb into your throat. It didn't go, come here, I'm getting in whether you like it or not. It didn't force itself upon you. You did this to yourself. And don't blame the drink. Blame yourself. You are to blame. And the reason you're not having any fun anymore, because you don't know how to drink tequila.
And don't mix your drinks. I've realized that as well. Don't be drinking gin, wine, and then tequila because you're going to wake up the next day, or maybe not wake up the next day. Okay. The trick is you pick your poison. If you're going to do tequila for the night, just do that. Do a couple of shots. You'll be great. If you're doing gin, stick with the gin. If you're doing cocktails, stick with the sugary stuff.
Right.
That's it. That's the trick. Don't be mixing the things because you will cry later.
Stefano says, here in the EU, SodaStream is making a big comeback.
Oh. Okay. And a grrr.
You know that sound, right?
Yes.
Oh. I've got one of those machines. Love it. Why would you buy soda water? Have you seen what? Like, you're buying water from your tap with bubbles in it that you can do yourself. Why would you buy soda water? Am I wrong?
No, you're right, Gareth.
Stupid.
Like, there's certain things where it's just, no.
Just make your own at home. Snipes says, no Nguni man will window shop ever. It's embarrassing. I love myself some Tequila and Supermodel. They deliver in 2 days, says Mapelo. Signet says, I ordered a few small items from Temu, all arrived in order. Yeah, I mean, listen, they're getting good at this stuff. What can I say? I actually ordered a power bank the other day from Take a Lot. Next day, arrived.
That's amazing.
It's pretty damn good. You don't have to pay extra or anything. It arrived the next day. I was very impressed. And, you know, you can't survive without a power bank.
Oh, no, not in this day and age. No. Mm-mm.
My youngest, says Tracy, is a shopaholic of note. So much so, wherever we're in the mall, I give him a time limit of 3 minutes per shop.
Wait, what?
You got a problem there.
Wait,
you got a problem.
Explain thyself. That means the kid has money to spend, so you can't be mad.
Right.
Can't be mad at the little one wanting to spend some money that they did not earn.
Right. Conga Chris says, the spirit isn't the problem, you are. The reason you got pissed isn't the tequila shot, it's the 75 Savannah Dries you had before. You know what? That is so spot on too. Like, Simphiwe is right, don't mix things, first of all. Second of all, I have managed to be a shooter drinker all of my adult life. Okay? From my 20s to now, you will never catch me with like a brandy and Coke or a whiskey on the rocks or a vodka and something or a gin and whatever. Don't do any of that bullshit. I drink tequila shots. In between, I'll have soft drinks or water. And I'm trying to get rid of the soft drinks because I realize they're the problem, right?
Yes.
That's the actual problem.
You get like the sugar high.
And I'll tell you what, I've never been throw up drunk, ever. Ever. And if I can, I mean, I know people who are like that every weekend. I've never been throw up drunk. So you don't have to be that person. You also don't have to be messy because you're so hammered, like you're stumbling around. Look, if you get into the upper 20s in terms of the number of shots you had, then you, even if you have the constitution of a mule, you're going to find it difficult to make it through the night. But I don't understand why people can't do what I do and be happy. They choose pain. They choose misery. You choose misery. Not my fault. Okay? So get with it. It's Friday. Today's the day to change your life for the better. Get on with it. The Yonke Insipo Iawasha is a huge problem in South Africa. There are people who are always drunk. I blame COVID, says Snipes. Yeah, yes. Since COVID, hey, woo.
Yes.
There's some people who just every day.
Yeah.
It's not good. Always image search. 80% of the clothing on Supermodel is from Shein. That's interesting.
Oh, yes.
Wow. That's a cool tip.
Also,
do you do this? You know this already. You look like someone who knew that before I said it.
So also on Shein in particular, there's I think 3 shops. If you search for them, I forgot the names. and they will give you like Zara lookalike clothes. So if you into like Zara or high-end clothing, you can find that on Shein. And then if you're into the more like laid back, more like high quality corporate wear, you can find that on that like other. It's on Shein, but you have to search for it in particular. I just forgot the names of it now. And yeah, boom shaka boom. That's the hack. That's how you can look extremely expensive on a budget. Because I've seen how cheap Shein is, and yeah.
Well, someone says you are pulling serious Cruella de Vil vibes today.
I need a cigar.
Yeah, one of those. No, you need one of those long cigarette lighters. Those ones that the women had in the 20s. They go. Long cigarette holder like this, and then the cigarette right at the end. Make those little circles. That's what you need to do. You can see that being pulled off easily by you.
Thank you.
Students today don't understand the tactical TC from Hatfield days to survive the night. Tactical Chunda. Come on now. You're not 12 anymore. 12, 17. If you're doing that at 12, it's a one-way ticket to hell. Jesus. Zach says Simphiwe looking like she just walked off a movie set.
Oh, thank you,
Great
darling.
hat game. Absolutely. Look at her. All right. So a couple of things we need to do this morning. A little bit of housekeeping. We're going to talk about adult diapers, which this scares the bejesus out of me. But adult diapers are starting to outsmell and outsell diapers for babies. That means there are more adult nappies being sold now than kids nappies in this country or worldwide or just in America.
Well, for the first time in Japan,
Oh my God.
adult diapers are selling more
Oh my God.
than baby diapers. And the country's birth rate has hit an all-time low.
Jesus.
And it's estimated in less than 50 years they'll have 40% of the population. The population will be over the age of 65.
That is horrific. Now,
It's scary.
that is a serious warning bell from population dynamics. Like, you guys have got this pyramid upside down. There are now more adult nappies being sold than kids' nappies in Japan.
Yes.
Long may that not be our problem.
I don't think it will.
Yo, that's
It
bad.
won't be even a Nigeria problem anytime soon. Like, it's not happening. But that is scary that actually diaper companies have kind of stopped making as much baby diapers and have now made more adult diapers. So, hey, it's tricky, hey?
And this is a little bit of very good news just before you start your Friday. Apparently, there's 89 billion rand in unclaimed assets
Halala.
around
Halala.
South Africa.
You
You've
must-
got to check if you are owed money.
Yes.
89 billion rand. That's what, just lying around?
Yes. So this is like maybe
It's
insurance.
like lost property.
You know,
Is that what it is?
funeral covers, I think so.
Yes.
It's a variety of things, but if you haven't claimed in like I think 24 months,
Oh, yeah, Ben.
yeah, you can.
Look at him. He just snuck in there. How's it, Ben? How's it? 89 billion, though, Sims. No, sorry, Ben.
Yeah.
We didn't even see you. Did you crawl out from under the
Yeah,
desk?
I was on this the whole time. Good show so far.
Yeah, very nice. I don't know why you just didn't join us at 6. Hang on. 89 billion rand is just waiting to be claimed? I'm
yes,
in.
you need to just go check. So you
Where do
must,
we check?
But but what are you checking though? Is this unclaimed like title deeds,
yeah, something like that. So it's a
forgotten estates?
it's a combination of like a number of things that they've put. So what has happened is in 2 years, so 24 months, if you've not claimed it, they've put it in this particular fund of unclaimed.
Oh, we've got to go and check.
Right. And so there's like a website where you can go check if you have any unclaimed funds. So it could be from insurance, title deeds, inheritance.
Imagine that, Ben.
Like
You know, it's like those Nigerian princes who keep telling me that I must just allow them to deposit their millions into my account, and then I can have 10% of it once they move it out of Nigeria.
But there's more to this, right? So the person who put this number together has the records and has the details of the people who need to get the things.
but you need to then go check. So you need to go onto the Fisca
They can also contact.
website.
No.
That's starting TV license thing. They contact me weekly. I'm pretty sure if there's things that like title
can
deeds
find you.
importance, they can find you, let you know. This whole there's unclaimed. They're
Listen,
waiting for it to be unclaimed.
I know a notorious cheapskate. It's not a friend of mine by any means, but she goes to like lost property where she hasn't even lost anything, and she claims shit. And she has got bags and shoes and wallets and like anything that you think. Can you imagine how much fun it is to work in like lost luggage at the airport, for example? And you open up, I saw this gangster looking dude in Cape Town when I landed there on Saturday last week. He was walking with his little wheelie bag in front of me, and he looked like tattoos on the neck and everything. I was like, imagine what's in his bag. Drugs, right?
Teddy bears.
No, drugs.
Teddy bears and soft sweets.
No, hard drugs. Imagine you find his bag lying around. You're like, wonder what I could get for this.
The thing is that when you develop a taste for finding things, you start finding things that border more towards theft.
It's theft.
Because I think the people at the airports now, they forcefully find things.
So there's a law in, well, there used to be up to a very short while ago, if it isn't still going, that after 50 years in the UK, everything reverts to the Crown. So if something isn't claimed, then eventually Charles gets it. Charles just gets everything that people leave lying around. If a property is left vacant for 50 years and nobody claims it, and a house is left derelict, he just claims it. He goes, I love that thing very much, and just takes it.
That's fun.
You think?
Well, I think he's got like he's got a country estate just full of tats and like old things.
I found this tapestry.
This has been left, and he's just got a whole house of them.
Yeah, probably he's got a couple, not even one. He doesn't even know where to put all this shit. I mean, that is pretty wild. 89 billion rand, everybody. Just make sure you're not owed something. And then Simphiwe's got to find out, like, is there a website? Is there an email address? We should all be checking this. Wouldn't it be nice to find out that you have a 10 million rand property you didn't know about?
Yeah, but look, come on.
What are the chances?
You would know.
You would know about that one.
What are the chances?
I mean, I'd love this to be like an Uncle Scrooge kind of thing where
it's not going to happen.
Come on.
All right. Well, Ben is here, which is excellent news because it means we can get a little update on the weekend in sport, which kicks off because it's Friday.
Yeah.
So Beyond the Scoreboard with Ben Karpinski, powered by Superbets. What do we got, Ben?
Not a lot this weekend.
No.
Yeah, that's it.
No, after last weekend's bumper.
Yeah, last week
smorgasbord.
Last weekend was huge, obviously, because of the finale of the SA versus Ireland Test Series. SA lost that one, and I wouldn't say they pro-tiered it, but they should have shut that game out. At the same time, Ireland were probably deserving of a win. They played pretty well, and they go 1-1. So, the bragging rights kind of shared on that. So there's no more rugby of international level on the home level. No, there isn't. There is, sorry. See.
Boring.
Any comments on that you haven't already shared on your
No, I was just trying to see how down you guys got if I said that.
No. Well,
there is, guys. We're playing Portugal this weekend. See, I was trying to up your spirits straight away. Didn't work.
You're wasting your time. Two people who know nothing about rugby.
Yes, there is still rugby.
Okay, but hang on, because in case you want more about what Ben and Sandile might have thought of the rugby, and there's plenty more where that came from, you don't want to miss the On the Bounce show, which is every Thursday, premieres live at 4 in the afternoon. But you can always get it now, whenever it suits you.
Whenever.
Yeah.
Whenever. We do go quite in depth into that. James is also on the show. He chimes in from time to time. So, yeah, there is still rugby this weekend. It's just SA versus Portugal. So it's not quite the same. Okay, no disrespect to Portugal, but they're not going to win this game. But it is their biggest game ever. And these Portuguese, they're in for a treat. They get to play in front of a packed-out Bloemfontein stadium.
Wow.
They get to see the best of Bloemfontein.
You know what's cool? I actually know some Poras in Bloemfontein. Imagine how exciting it'll be for them.
Just when everything aligns, huh? That's it.
That's truly like the great alignment.
Yeah, I mean, out of respect, there should be Prego rolls and beer tomorrow and brandy.
For sure.
No more burries. Just go clap it. So, look, the day of rugby starts with New Zealand versus Fiji, 4:30 in the morning. They're playing in America, though, so that's also something different. But these guys have got to make money somewhere because SA aren't part of Super Rugby anymore. Australia will then take on those hardened men of Georgia who just beat Japan recently, which is a really big win for them.
Wow.
Japan's like one of those teams. Like, they get good results, but then sometimes they're absolute shite.
And then we found out from Simphiwe earlier that they're selling more adult nappies than children's nappies.
Well, it doesn't really affect the rugby team because most of them are from New Zealand.
Ah,
Oh.
okay.
and South
Okay.
Africa and elsewhere. So you won't get too
Okay.
many Japanese people there. And then, of course, the big game, SA versus Portugal at 5. It is completely a different team from last week.
Yes.
We've
question.
got Salman Murat. He's always mooring the rats. So he's the captain. He's a young dude, plays for the Stormers. So look, there's limited experience in this pack. I think the average is like 7 or 8 caps per player.
Yeah.
It goes a bit more into the back line where you're averaging around 27 caps. So we've gone for the most capped Springbok team of all time into a bunch of guys who are on the fringe who are looking to make a huge impression. And there's big time injuries right now in the Bok team. So you play well against the Portuguese, you could be in the rugby championship, said no one ever in the history of sport.
Wow.
That's it. That's the first time that line has ever been said.
Well, you've upped the stakes significantly. And I mean, this is brought to you by Superbet. So upping the stakes is what you do.
Well, you can. And I think that's what is worth betting on this weekend. So you can go onto Superbets right now and you go onto the rugby page. So every sport has its own page. It has its whole bunch of markets. You can't really bet on New Zealand versus Fiji because there's only one result there.
Yeah.
And it's just... let's just leave that one. But Australia at a minus 18.5 handicap is quite a tasty bet. And I would actually go and say that these Georgians, depending on how much red meat they've eaten this week, I would give them the handicap of plus 18.5. So all they need to do is lose by 18 or less, and you can win. Okay.
Wow.
Because these looks are pretty good. So I'll go plus Georgia 18.5. And then with the SA game, I would handicap the box at 34.5. So they need to win by 35 plus points.
Okay.
And then you get your bet back. So it's near even money if you go on those. Obviously, if you multiply them up, you get more of a stake. And then your 100 can get you a hypothetical 260 back.
Okay,
So
I like it.
those are the bets that I would say have a go. Because, yes, the results are pretty much set in stone. But with those margins, it'll be an interesting way of watching the rugby. There's also the Currie Cup this weekend. The Lions will take on the Griquas. Now, Griquas took on the Sharks last week, and the Sharks got their box back, or the ones that aren't playing for the box, and they lost in Kimberley.
Ooh.
Yeah, quite disappointing. But then again, we come to know that the Sharks are actually just
Anything
shite.
in Kimberley's disappointing.
Well, no, I mean, the Griquas won, so that's hugely exciting for them. The Sharks, though, they've just become so shit as a rugby team. So Lions
Shame.
versus the Griquas will kick off for today. Of course, there's so many games today because of the test match tomorrow. So we've got Blue Bulls versus the Cheetahs. That is the game of the day. They'll be at 5 o'clock. And then the Sharks will be taking on the Pumas at 7. And then Sunday, the Griffins will host Western Province. So Western Province have lost their last 2. They played the Bulls, they played the Cheetahs, so still without a win yet.
And yet you still wore the VP tray yesterday on your shirt.
It's still the best rugby jersey. It's the most recognizable. It's from the sexiest time of rugby, back when men were men and also playboys. It was that hybrid time where they went from just being farmers, and that was the first time you started seeing hairstyles in the game of rugby.
And shoes.
Colored boots.
No, because
Yeah.
before that, there were no shoes.
Yeah, the Western Province was... It's a shame the Stormers became the Stormers, and I get that they had to keep the name for commercial reasons and it became a product.
Yeah.
But Western Province was a better team.
Vietnam.
It just looked better. We've also got the Open Championship this weekend.
Now this is a biggie.
It's huge. It's huge. It's being played at Royal Troon, and that is in Scotland, if you're wondering. And of course, the weather is just so diabolical.
Is
These
it
poor
true,
people.
Before you move on to the weather,
Is it Troon?
Is it true that Royal Troon is just the throne? It's like Scottish for a bog, for a toilet.
I don't know. I always thought Scottish for a bog was a bog.
You go and make a deposit at Royal Troon.
No, it's
No?
a very fancy place, actually.
Okay.
There's no riffraff around here.
All right.
Okay.
And if there is any ablutions, they'll be done in a positively structured environment. So Royal Troon is like any other Open Championship course. A lot of the time is you go out and you come in, because it links the farmlands to the ocean. So you could never farm on links land. That's why it was called the links, because it was just not arable. It was hard and sandy and shit. So then they thought, okay, we'll go play this golf game there.
And
So
no one's ever explained that to me. Thank you.
So whenever you see the helicopter shots from the Open, you'll see some shitty beach that people go on with like jackets and hoodies and all kinds of things. They're walking horrible looking dogs. And then you see this beautiful golf, and then you'll see the farmlands in the town.
Okay.
Every single links golf course is basically like that in those
Okay.
British Isles.
Wow, there we are.
And yes, links golf is difficult. So you go out, you'll have wind in one direction, you'll come back, and the wind will be in the other direction. So there's so many other like nuanced things around links golf that are so interesting. Also, sometimes the weather's good in the morning, but terrible in the afternoon. So where you get your tee off time is really kind of how you finish. So the last time they played at Royal Troon, the weather was so bad it wiped out half of the field. And then at the same time, Henrik Stenson and Phil Mickelson played the first and third best major in the history of the game. So they were 20 under, 17 under. Next up was -6.
Yup.
That's how far ahead they were.
Wow.
It'll be a lot tighter this time round. The weather's not so severe on the 2 splits. And right now we've got Dan Brown as the leader. He'll fall away, obviously, because he's a nobody. But Shane Lowry, who has won the Open Championship, he's right there at -5. Justin Thomas, he's won 2 majors. He's been terrible the last 2 seasons. He's there at 3 under. Xander Schauffele, he is a player. He's not a dessert. He's at -2. And then Mackenzie Hughes as well. He's there. So a couple of guys really absolutely shut the bed yesterday. I mean, I'm going to start with all the guys basically at my golf champs. They were all terrible. But Cam Smith, he's +9. Tiger Woods continues to just
He's still playing.
ruin his legacy, +8. I mean, Fat Colin Montgomery said, maybe you should retire. To which Tiger had a pretty good comeback where he said, look, I'm exempt until 60 and you're not. Because he's won so many times, Tiger can play wherever he wants. But I think he's missing Colin's point, which is a fair one. Nobody wants to see him degrading his legacy like this.
Sure.
The guy can barely walk 18 holes, and here he is offering cliches like, I'm only here because I think I can win. You can't, bro.
Yeah, bro.
You can't.
Come on, bro.
Tiger, we all love you, but
Yeah,
just
come on,
pack
it's
it
over.
in. Pack it in. Ricky Fowler, also dog shit, +8. Rory McIlroy, +7. Rory's... Oh, God, this guy's frustrating. Yeah? I mean, this is like his redemption back from obviously choking it up at the US Open. So he's just, oh, fuck this guy. Anyway, +7. Bryson DeChambeau's +5. Tommy Fleetwood's +5. So these are the people that everyone thought was going to do something. Ludwig Oberg, they thought it would be a good weekend for him. He's +4, as is Victor Hovland. And then Brian Harmon, who's the defending champ in what was the most boring Open Championship last year in the rain. He won it, and he's not defending. He's +2. Colin Morikawa's +2. Tristan Lawrence, he's the best placed South African, along with Dean Burmester on even par. And again, I'm just going to reiterate that Dan Brown is currently in the lead, and he's going to fall away quite swiftly today. Okay. But the Open Championship is great because if you are here in South Africa or in Europe, it is the major you can watch during the daytime. You have to stay awake until 2 a.m. to see who wins. It's all in the right time zone. And the weather is going to be Scottish summer. So dreary, cold, windy, wet. You're going to see these people who are hardened golf fans just shivering out in the mess. But it's beautiful. It's wonderful to see. And then finally, we got the Hungarian Grand Prix. I always think, like, how does a country like Hungary have a Grand Prix, but we don't?
Well, at the moment, Hungary is not looking too bad. In fact, in Europe, they are something of a leading light right now.
Oh, very good to know.
Politically, they're very forward thinking. They're moving in an interesting direction, which the rest of Europe is only catching on to now.
So not left, basically.
No, Viktor Orban is their president. Very, very smart and popular guy.
So he will be at the Grand Prix, is what you're saying?
Pretty sure he will be.
You're saying he's going to be there. Well, Victor in the race, they're going to be watching Max Verstappen because he's been a bit rocky in the last couple of races. When you think that this is a guy who absolutely dominated the sport to the point where everyone just called it F Verstappen. 255 points. He's currently on the driver standings. Now, Lando Norris, that fresh-faced Brit, he's at 171 points in second place. And Charles Leclerc, who is the Ferrari driver, he's at 150, and Carlos Sainz 146. So, obviously, there's no Mercedes at the top there. They're further down. George Russell at 111 at 7th, and then Lewis Hamilton at 110 on 8th. Now, Lewis is just basically victory lapping a bit this year. He's going to do it here and there, but he's driving for Ferrari next year, which is his last real push at the title. So it is down to Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. These are the two, I think, that are going to take the sport way further from here. They're both super young, and it'll again be between those two, I say. That's the way I was going to go. Ferrari, you never know what you're going to get. You literally don't. I mean, that's not even a cliche anymore. I don't even think they know. I think when the race starts, they'll all shake their hands and then just go, oh, well, we'll see what happens. So that'll be the Hungarian Grand Prix. So you got Grand Prix, you got the Open Championship. There is, of course, Tour de France. That's in the mix as well. There is no cricket. And even if there is, it's not going to be worth watching. But most importantly, amongst all of this, it is a week away until the Olympics.
Yes.
Now this is such it's a massive gap. I keep thinking every week, we haven't spoken about the Olympics, and now it's a week away.
Yeah, so next Friday, we're going to preview the crap out of the Olympics.
All right. Because there are things in the Olympics that are exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got a comment here from Sneak1138. Ben, please mention the ladies' touch box. Why?
Oh.
What do you want me to say?
I don't even know what that sentence
So
is.
I'm guessing it's a touch rugby team.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
When I think of I thought grab him by the pussy.
I mean, do you want a shout out? Is this 90s radio?
Touchbox. They're playing in the World Cup,
Oh.
says producer James.
Awesome. Amazing. And I'm sure there's a podcast dedicated
Like the
to
female
women's
rugby World Cup. Like what World Cup is this?
female ladies.
That we've never heard of.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm
Oh.
sure there's a podcast
Wait, there's
dedicated
a
to
female rugby
female ladies
World
first
Cup
rugby.
currently happening. No, I'm saying currently.
Amazing. Great. Good luck, ladies. Everyone's got something on this weekend. Simphiwe, anything your family's involved in? Gareth, you got some friends playing paddle?
There's a tombola on Sunday.
I wish you all the best. Just keep moving in life, guys.
Yeah.
If you're playing a sport, you got nothing but my
So
admiration.
Sneak 1138. Very important that the ladies touch box get a mention.
Great.
Yeah.
Nothing but the best. I hope you
Yeah.
go all the way.
One day we'll have a sports show that
Just as a list.
we can pay minute detail interest to every tiny little offshoot piece of rubbish. Nobody watches sport. But for today, I'm afraid that's all we've got.
Well, actually, no. I mean, let's carry on. So there's Russian.
But wait, there's more.
If you go on the Superbet site, you can get the world here. So there's Russian volleyball this weekend. So if you are an Alliance fan, they'll be taking on the Titans today at 9:50.
Excellent.
Empire taking on Legion Pro at 11:20, and then the Lions Pro will take on Erzog at 1:30.
What?
There's too many.
Let's try that
There's
again.
too many consonants in this. Erdenzilti.
What are the
changed.
odds?
They're favorites. 0.62 favorites. Erdenzilti, they are the
Vote.
favorites. So I mean,
Put your bet on that.
that's really exciting. Badminton.
All right.
There is Shi Yong Ki will be taking on Alex Victor. That is the badminton singles men's final of.
Very good. Okay, you know what? I feel like we're
Thank you.
we're
Thank you,
stumbling
Ben.
into some very dodgy territory here. All you need to know is that Ben has already given you some tips here, especially when it comes to the rugby for the weekend. And Superbet supports responsible gambling. Strictly no under 18s. Winners know where to stop. The South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling hotline 0800 006 008. Very nice. Now, we're not quite finished with the sport because Simphiwe has something to add about the Paralympics.
Yes.
And apparently the TikTok,
This is what you were schooling me on yesterday.
Yes, I was.
the TikTok social media manager has basically told everyone to go to hell. Is that right?
No.
Oh,
The content that
Oh.
I think it's a Gen Z personally. I think that
hmm.
it's just so
I
hilarious.
love the way you mention, it's a Gen Z, like they get
No.
special parking.
No, because only
Well,
a
it's the
Gen Z
Paralympics.
would I've
They get special parking.
I don't know if James has loaded the videos, right?
All right. we
This
got
is
it.
what's on my timeline, my TikTok timeline. And every time I see any of the Paralympics videos, I just end up in stitches.
Let's go.
Wow, you can really dance. Wow, you can really dance. He went.
And I have
Everybody was kung fu fighting, become fast as lightning. Although the future is a little bit frightening, it's the book of your life that you're writing.
Now somebody, anybody, everybody scream!
There's squirrels in my pants.
That girl's got some serious...
That's amazing. All right. I see what you mean.
yes, where they like
Oh, okay. I thought this person was doing a bad job. They're doing a terrific job.
They
This
do
is
a
very
great
entertaining.
job,
So
like-
what account do I follow?
the Paralympics official TikTok account. Like
That's awesome.
I thought it was like, oh no, this
I
account
love
is
it.
fake, but it's the actual
No, that's great.
official account. And
You know,
there's
What makes you think that was fake?
plenty.
They were just showcasing their sporting abilities.
No, but what I like is they're not taking themselves super seriously then. Whoever this person is, well done to
It's
them.
very good.
I think it's amazing. Congratulations. Whoever their social media manager is, you get it.
But that's
Yeah.
when you know that people care about you. When they start making a little bit of fun, they take things less seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Mine-
that's the kind of content I like to
I
consume.
mean, I'm pretty sure we can get some memes about the SA women's touch rugby team.
I don't know if they're going to, they'll probably take themselves super seriously.
Nah, I'm sure they're a
I'm just
great bunch
guessing.
of girls.
So I heard something interesting this morning. I don't know whether it's true or not, but I'm going to put it to the test with you and Simphiwe this morning.
Okay.
One of the big differences between men and women, when men aren't getting their way, they tend to blame themselves and try to change something in themselves.
They
so
don't.
that they can. No, wait. Just let me finish. So they can fit into the world. Okay, this is what I've heard. When women aren't getting their way, they tend to blame and try to change the world rather than themselves.
Correct.
Now you agree.
Oh, wait,
Make up
wait,
your mind.
Wait, Ben, where are you?
Are you just looking for an
Where?
argument?
You made 2 points.
But
They are
which one
not-
do you agree with?
They're not
'Cause-
contradictory. In other words, the way that men respond to a world that is not working for them is to go and introspect and find out how they can fix themselves and blame themselves and come back. And sometimes they get it right and sometimes they don't.
Oh yeah, like mature ones, well-balanced ones.
Yes,
Yeah. But you know
mature-
that's a huge minority.
Yes, and obviously this is not true for everybody, right? But then with women, largely, they'll go, "Oh, the world is so unfair." And yeah, but for example, I mean, like the most stupid example I can think of is, so a bunch of beauty magazines have thin, lovely looking girls on the covers. A bunch of other girls go, "Oh, the problem with the world is that these beauty standards are unachievable and the magazine is wrong for having put these beautiful women on the cover." Whereas men will see like a Men's Health magazine and they'll go, "Geez, I don't look like that. I better get to gym."
Very good example.
Yes, I mean that's a very poor example, I think, but you get the idea.
Hmm.
General agreement.
Slight
Hmm.
disagreement.
Okay, go on.
Especially with the example you used about like beauty standards, right? It does play a huge role in how people perceive themselves if that's all you see. And I think that's why the conversation has been opened up to representation. And I think now we overuse the term representation, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what it initially was trying to be
But
changed.
there's never been, for example, the reason I think this came up in the conversation I was listening to and eavesdropping on, where I pulled this out of like stompies that I was picking up. But you know how women will say, "Oh, yeah, you're a queen, you look beautiful,"
Yes.
to their fat friend. A guy will never do that.
Never.
That is a difference. Meanwhile, I mean, the woman who's saying, "Yes, queen, you look beautiful. Don't change anything about you. You're perfect just the way you are. You are beautiful." How does that, Christina?
Every single way. Something can't turn you
Words
down.
can't break you down.
Something like
Anyway,
that.
like
Reality.
that's bullshit, because we know usually the women who are saying that to the woman who doesn't look great, they're actually saying it because that woman's not a threat to them.
Yeah, I never get the over complimenting thing. It's just
It's
so
just done
insincere.
in public, though.
I know, but that makes it so
Well,
insincere.
then it's just deceitful.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
because I mean, it's one of those where if we're out and about, right, you do know that you're not just competing with your friends, but the rest of the world. And that's not the time or place to say, "Girl, you actually don't look the prettiest right now." That is not the time, no place. There's a time and place where I can tell you, "Girl, last time we went out, that crop top was a tad bit too tight," and I'll do that when we're busy getting ready for the next outing. But you don't do it out and about.
Oh,
See, that's smart to do. I think if I was a girl,
Yes.
I would want you as a friend.
yeah.
Yeah,
Considerate,
because let me tell you something.
kind.
Balanced.
Men treat girls they don't find attractive very differently
Absolutely.
to how,
Absolutely.
you know. So already, if we go out as friends, and you already know that the ugly friend is not going to be treated to the same level
Yeah,
that
she's
you as
buying
the
her.
pretty
She's
friend
buying her
are-
drinks. Most of her.
You know
her
what I
own
mean?
drinks.
You need to just boost her a bit and just be like, "Nah, girl, you got this.
Yeah.
You're still hot. You're still sexy."
Exactly. That's actually a really good point. I never thought of it that way.
Okay, that is the positive spin on it.
Yes.
The negative spin on it is that women are always extra nice to women who are not a threat to them.
Yeah, look, a lot of the time, guys as well, because when guys are threatened, again, Gareth, you're not an insecure, like, strange man. Like, you're very confident who you are. But if you go out into the general world, men behaviors, you look at it, go to like most average bars on a Friday night or hang out and just random places.
I'd rather stab myself in the eyes.
I know you would.
No.
But this is the thing, when people are insecure, so if someone's not a threat to them, then they'll joke around with them, they'll be the buddy. If someone is a threat, as in they'll be able to get hotter chicks than them, because again, it goes back
They're
to like
not
the
nasty to
primal
them, are they?
mindset. They'll be a lot more sort of like calculated in how they deal with them. Or if you're more famous or more interesting, you turn more heads in a room.
Okay.
It's a lot of
So
insecure people.
actually- So in other words, it isn't a gender difference here. It's actually just a like confidence difference.
Yeah, look, I think what you said about the example with the magazines, I think it hits the nail on the head in this example. But at the same time, the lazy guys now are like, well, it's unattainable because men are becoming more feminine.
You see, Elon Chief Twat's very full of himself here in the comments. Women will never be able to handle men's honesty. Well, that's not true. I mean, Ben's just pointed out how men can be very dishonest as well. Sanela says, true. No one talks to the ugly fat friend.
You see?
Hi, bo.
And then she's going to be crying on our shoulders at the end of the night. So I don't want that. I
And
also
it's
want
a
to have
lot-
a great
It's
night.
cry on your shoulders. It's a lot to support.
But guys, where does that sorrow drive her is the question. It could really fuel her into something great.
You think?
Never look at, what's the opposite of a gift horse? An insulting horse in the mouth that could actually drive you somewhere.
Nothing worse than a insulting horse.
No, because there's
No.
more,
I do
there's-
agree with you. The power of negative reinforcement. Yeah.
And popularity is
Yeah.
not something you should strive for. It's nice. It makes you feel a bit fuzzy, it makes you feel a bit lighter and happier, but it is not exactly the metric of what is success.
It's like when someone does something really stupid on the road and you lose your mind until you see she's hot and you're like, fine, go ahead. No problem, ma'am.
no
Says
But
really
that's
Richard.
that's how we wired, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Really
People
privileged.
are so much nicer to good looking people.
Yes.
V. Russ says women treat rich men very differently to poor men. So maybe that's the comparison, is that a guy will be very nice to a beautiful looking woman and horrible to an ugly woman.
Well, not horrible, just more dismissive. It's just
Horrible.
look at-
It's horrible.
And a woman will be much nicer to a rich man than she will to a poor one.
It's the same thing because he's attractive.
Mm.
I mean, if people still get upset about that and start like
Yeah.
judging women on the back of that, it is such bullshit because it's exactly the same as guys wanting to be more nice to good-looking women.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Zach says, in high school, it was always the less attractive Chabanyana who led the ring. You want one lady from the group, you had to go through her.
Yes.
She had to like you and approve you first.
Oh, yes,
So
that is
that's-
very real.
That's the fat friend thing, right? It's like
It's the ugly friend.
she was the gatekeeper.
Yeah, you got to buy
It's still-
knickknacks for a phone number.
It still applies today where the less attractive friend is the one who kind of gatekeeps everything because she sees everything,
But that's
right?
great.
And so she's the one
She
who's like,
sees everything.
and that's why you also need to accommodate her and be like, no, friend, you're also pretty. You're also the one because she might be the one stopping you.
Hodor over here in the friend circle. But that's great. I mean, that's social engineering for you, okay? So that woman is not going to get picked up and that kind of stuff. So she's got a more particular role in the group.
Yes, so she has to protect everybody, but you also then need to make her feel that she's seen.
Every pot's got a lid, though, Simphiwe. So she's got a function, and guys drink. So ultimately, she'll get hers, so to speak.
Sure.
But she's got this really good social function.
Yeah, she has. It's an important role in society. I think that's what we've come to. Ricky says, I never trust profile. Actually, she says, I never trusts profiles with a profile picture of a good-looking woman and an ugly woman. You know who that profile belongs to.
Yes, the ugly one. Sorry, did I say that too quickly?
You said that very quickly. Yeah,
It's true.
ugly guys get sent to HR. Good-looking men get their office spreadsheets and presentations done by someone else.
Yes, so be more attractive. This is the moral of the
Guys,
story here, guys.
Pretty privilege is a real thing and don't hate it. Don't hate it. And this is why I think people want to alter themselves to look and be part of the pretty gang, is so that they can get some of the privileges of just having life a tad bit easier. That's it.
Carl says, I'm treated much better in winter because I can cover my fat, bald head with a beanie.
Yeah, but you're still wearing a beanie though, so it's not exactly a big
Wow,
leap out of the
You
pond.
look like a homeless person. Everyone, I'm sorry. If you wear a beanie, you look like a homeless person.
It's not a good look.
No.
My head gets particularly. I mean, there's so much of it. The surface area to the winter is it's unfair, and I'm
Ben
so
loses
cold.
3/4 of his body heat.
I
through
lose
his
so
head.
much heat through this gigantic head of mine. So I have to wear a beanie, and I hate it. But it's just otherwise I get like headaches.
Zandi's giving you a compliment here, but it's not really a compliment to your friends. SIM card looks like she has a lot of ugly friends.
Oh, no, I don't play that game.
No.
Nope. No.
How big is your gate? You need so many keepers.
Nah, I don't play that game. My friends are very pretty.
Yeah.
No, don't play that game.
Just throw a piece of KFC and the doors will open, says Elon. Oh, that's horrific.
The doors of what?
The gates of Mordor. Just distract the fat friend with some chicken.
Yeah.
Tabo says, screw you guys, I'm wearing a beanie right now.
Yeah,
Guess who's not getting any action today?
Oh, don't
No
leave the
one's
house,
looking at you. Tabo,
Guys.
you stay at home.
Unless you are a rapper or again rich, that goes back to the original theory. You're not hooking up with girls if you're wearing a beanie. It's a turn off. It's not going to work.
Exactly. If Mark Zuckerberg, who's worth billions of dollars, walks into a place in a beanie, look, he's a lizard anyway, but if he walked in a beanie, he's also not going to score. Beanie kind of negates all that money.
It does, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. This is why it's a dark time.
He was about to say something
I was about to
controversial.
say, no, like even, our brother man, Mark, he's trying to swag up. He has the chains. He has this going on for
It's not
him.
working.
So I'm just saying, if he also sees that he needs to level up in life.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Tabo, please,
Right.
please, as a belief, get rid of that beanie.
Really, Richard says, if you don't put any effort into looking after yourself, don't complain when you're treated differently.
True.
Correct.
True.
Right, exactly.
True.
Michelle says, if your best friend is a Virgo female, you will always get the truth.
I don't know
Virgo
about that.
female?
I don't.
It's very specific, eh? Raven says, Mark Zuckerberg has micro penis energy.
And you would know, girl?
Micro penis. Is that the opposite of big dick energy?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Ooh, Carl says it's going to be -6 at the stadium in Bloem tomorrow. Definitely wearing my beanie.
Yes, that's fine because you're at a Bok game.
Yes, that's
It's
okay.
fine. Peri Pregos and beanies.
In
Guys,
winter. Yeah.
I've got to get going. I'm going to catch a flight.
Where are you
Where are
going?
you going?
I'm going to Cape Town.
Ooh.
Oh, you're not going to the game in Bloem?
No, sadly not. I got work to do this weekend, so I've got to catch a flight and
All right, off you go.
Okay,
say goodbye to my
bye,
cats
bye.
and do these
Say-
things.
You
You
like
say
the,
bye to Mouses.
Mouse has unfortunately passed away in February, but I'll say bye to the other two.
It's really nice that Simphiwe is paying attention to Ben's cat population. All right, bye-bye, Ben. Cheers.
Sorry,
there he goes. He's going to cry on the plane. Simphiwe doesn't care about my cats. Shouldn't care. Oh, man. Really, Richard says, what is Dan Border hiding with those 3 beanies under the Hell's Gate, other than Hell's Gates? I think
His
you mean
forehead.
Dan Corder.
Yes.
Does he have an enormous forehead?
Yes, he does. He has a
5
kind
head.
of cool. 5 head.
A 5 head.
Kind of cool.
Shim. Gareth, you shop at Superdry. They got great beanies. Just get one that fits proper for your head shape.
No.
You will never see me in hats or beanies. I'll tell you why. I just think I look really stupid. I look in the mirror whenever I've left my house with a hat on and I'm like, not going to happen. Nope. I just feel like you can wear that hat with confidence and
Thank
the
you.
doek.
Yes.
Okay, it looks good on you. I have never, you talk about, like everybody has confidence in different places. I have no hat confidence. Zero.
And that's okay.
Zero. So it's just, and I'm happy with that. Okay. So you do the thing, Zach, you do it. And you can represent all of us. You do it on our behalf because you sound like someone who can wear a hat with confidence or a beanie for that matter. All right, that's all we got time for in this hour. We'll be back in a moment or two. Simphiwe and I are here all morning for you. Well, at least until 8.
Thank you. Not all morning. I'm
All
gonna be
morning.
like,
We're going to be here until 12. All right, don't go anywhere. We got so much time. We got so much fun. All on the way.
Plug-in hybrids, a little bit fancier. I know.
Well, I had a plug-in hybrid a while back, the Toyota RAV4 2.5 plug-in hybrid, and it just came as a unit for local media to test out to see how it would be received here. And I see they are now going to market. So with the plug-in hybrid, you plug it in, but there's always that reserve of the engine. So even if you do run out of battery power, you've still got the engine to fall back on. So it's really just the best of both worlds. But obviously, when you've got electric power, your fuel consumption will be so much better. But it doesn't mean that if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere and you've run out of battery power, that you can't go anywhere. So I think for people who would want to own fully electric cars, the plug-in hybrid is almost there. But for people who have range anxiety, obviously, it's a lot better.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
The way you described how you don't really think when these things happen, you just go into your body takes over.
Yeah.
It's not your mind anymore.
And I think that
kind of makes you wonder who you really are. Are you in your head? Are you in your body? Is there something else? And that idea that you crossed over, that fascinates me, that you, at some point, you just gave up. You were like, and it wasn't like giving up. You were at peace.
No.
You were like, if this is the end, this is the end.
Yeah. But it's taken me a few years to start formulating sentences and thoughts around things I've experienced in the ocean. So day one of being an amputee, everything is so fresh. You medicated, 10 out of 10. You are in hospital and there's all this new stuff that's about to start happening.
I have a fun fact for that, actually.
Tell us. So Spain have been fined every game that Yamin Lamal has played.
Because he can't drive to the stadium?
Well, it has to do with his age. You can't work under the age of 18 in Germany. And so in one of the games, they pulled him off to avoid the fine. But then for the rest of them, they were just like, screw it, let's keep him on the field.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
James, that's a great fun fact.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, James.
He also did his homework on this Euros photos, many photos of it, hidden doing homework. So.
Okay, the second thing wasn't this. You kind of pushed it a bit farther.
You did too much.
Oh, we're on. Sorry. I was just getting into that really, really great music that James put in the break. I saw a tweet from Elon Musk this morning, says, wow, steak and eggs with coffee in the morning really feels like a power-up. He's only just discovered that now. Dude, you were born in South Africa. You should know steak is good at any time of the day. In fact, you know what? I think tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up early and I'm going to make steak and eggs and steak.
Let's go.
That's what we should have for breakfast. Eggs and steak and steak and eggs. That's what we're going to do. Telling you, tomorrow. How's that?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I love it. Yes.
Do you?
Yeah. I'm fucking going to. All right. Get ready. It's going to be so much fun. All right. So let's find out about the wild, wild origins of some wedding traditions. There may be some people going to a wedding this weekend. Who knows? I mean, there are people who get married in the dead of winter. The venues are cheap. And there's a lot of touching up on the photographs to make it look less brown and dry in the background. Mara, maybe you're going to a wedding. And
yes.
I don't know if you have been to any of these, but there's sometimes these traditions that creep in and you're like, where did this come from? Well,
yes.
Luckily for you, Simphiwe has done some research by using all of the dodgy sites that she uses on the internet.
Of course.
And has found out where the things come from.
Yes. And in this case, we're talking about a white wedding, right? And most of the setting is in America.
Yeah. America.
Yeah. But number one is the wedding bouquet. So how it originally came about was because people were so smelly.
Yes.
That they would get fragrant flowers to kind of
hide, to mask the stinky body smells.
I know, right? And then what I found interesting whilst we're talking about people just smelling shady is that people would only really have like an annual bath like in May. And so most weddings would take place in June because they were smelling fresh.
Let me tell you something. Europe is a cold place, all right? So you can't warm up an entire bath full of water back in those days. It's too expensive. You have to burn too much wood. It's too difficult to do. So Europeans were way smellier than Africans 500 years ago. Way smellier. And perfume was only invented, as Simphiwe has already indicated, because it was there to hide the smell of people that were not clean, that stank. Now, I just want to raise a glass and say thank you to all of our ancestors from whichever part of the world they come, because people were generally unhygienic and filthy, and yet they still managed to have sex. Thank you, all those dead ancestors, all the Amatlozi, all of you who before us managed, despite the smell, to have passionate sex and make us eventually.
I think you should eliminate passionate.
Well, might have been. If everybody smells, then you don't know anything different.
I guess
right?
back in the day, you weren't mad if you only lasted for a minute.
Correct. That's spot on. Yes. All right. So that's where the bouquet comes from.
Yes. And then when it comes to the bridesmaids, originally the purpose of bridesmaids was to warn off vengeful spirits and also to confuse the enemy, that was basically...
Confuse the enemy, what if someone's coming to kill the bride? They're
yes.
Which one?
Which one? And they're and also it was another theory is said that...
It's rough in those days, hey? Someone's coming to kill the bride. You're bring in some decoys. The bridesmaids. And the killer's I don't know which one to kill anymore. I'm going to just have to kill them all. Jeez, it was rough.
It was rough. But another reason, and I think this one is up my alley, so that they don't outdo each other. Because they all wore the same thing. So I'm with that.
That is still a thing.
Yes.
That is still a thing. I've heard terrible stories, just kind of carrying on from that conversation we had about men and women and whether or not they actually complement each other. I know a couple of stories where girls who I am friendly with have been bridesmaids, and they say that the bride has often made them look shit on purpose so she'd look nice. That happens, right?
Yes, it does.
She's why don't you wear brown?
The most unflattering
brown
dress, and you just excuse
poofy
me,
shoulders, and why don't we put you in terrible shoes?
Oh gosh.
And let's put a big 80s belt across the whole thing. Why must I wear this? Because you look beautiful.
Thank you.
Because you're so beautiful. It makes all 5 of you girls who are prettier than me look really beautiful, so I can look nice as a bride. Yeah, that's honest. That's really honest.
I hate it. But onto the wedding rings, right? Most people know this one, but wedding rings were a sign of ownership.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Right.
And so women would kind of show off that they were owned by a man.
Right.
So that's interesting. And then the meaning behind carrying the bride through the door is actually because she needs to display that she's unwilling to leave her family and being forced into the marriage.
Sort of like that ukutwala thing that happens in traditional Zulu culture too. So there's a little bit of that. Listen,
yes,
some of our history is not all rainbows and unicorns.
Oh, no,
all
it's
right,
not.
Women were property.
Yes,
back in the day. And again, this is something that all of us across the world can share. There was no enlightened society. These feminists these days, they go, there was a time when Mother Earth and the matriarchs ruled the world, and everyone was just hugging and being friends and being nice to each other, and men didn't bring all their aggression and war behavior. There was no such time. Generally, everywhere in the world, for a very long time, women were just property.
Yes.
Men just had their way with them. They were suffering as much as anyone else during war, if not more, because they were considered to be part of the plunder. It wasn't great. Let's just put it that way. Again, thank you, ancestors, for surviving and having passionate sex despite the smell.
Yes. And whilst we're still talking about women kind of being property, the father giving away the bride was actually a transaction. So it was one transfer of one property to another property owner.
Wow. Okay. Talk about like obvious contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then last but not least,
Transactional. This is totally transactional. Honey, don't get too romantic. Oh, sorry, I won't do that. I'm just going to carry you over the threshold so everyone knows that you're mine. And I've taken you with force from your family. Nice.
And then last but not least, the honeymoon, right?
Yeah.
The honeymoon originally wasn't about vacation and you taking time away with your partner. It was actually to go see the people that didn't attend the wedding.
Oh.
Yes.
Now, I would say screw them. They couldn't even come to the wedding. Why should you not take time out of your married bliss in the beginning of your time together to go and visit all those assholes who didn't come to your wedding?
Maybe they stayed far. You know, back in the day, transport was an issue.
I think that sounds like it's way too polite. I'm glad that that's no longer the thing. Now people just go away.
Yes, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I like that.
Yeah.
So you've taught me a bunch of things this morning. I learned from Ben what the links are. Never knew what a links golf course was until this morning. Learned from you about wedding traditions. I'm going to have a very, very irritating weekend telling everybody all this information they didn't know before. Be like, did you know where this comes from?
Are you sure you want to do that next
Simphiwe
time?
told me on the show on Friday. Yeah, it's true. Really. It's amazing. So a few things that I saw on the internets this morning that I think could be interesting. There are a lot of people talking about Trump's speech. Apparently it was very unifying, nation building. He's not doing the things that he's famous for, as in like saying horrible things.
I feel like he's a bit of a changed man.
Well, listen, if a bullet zooms past your head at that speed and almost turns you to mist,
You know?
I think it changes quite a lot. And anyone who thinks it doesn't, I can't take you seriously. Like, I really don't want anybody to have to go through anything like that, whether you like them or you don't. But imagine you escape assassination by millimeters, by seconds, just because you turn your head. Everything is okay, as opposed to how it would have been if you didn't.
Oh, yeah. So have you seen some of the videos now where they're analyzing how if he did not tilt his head when he did at the exact time, it would be a different story. In fact, it would have those videos have been insane. And I'm just like, for everyone who thinks it's staged, I'm like, no, guys, it can't be. Not like this. Like, they should have gone the shoulder or something. The ear.
I mean, it's almost like a bit of a parody, but do you know who introduced Trump at the rally at the RNC? Hulk Hogan. With a handlebar mustache. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens there. He's also said things like, I could stop a war with a telephone call. Just one call. I could stop it all. He didn't say that with a rhyme, but it would have been nice if he did.
You gotta love him. You just gotta love Trump. Like,
again, big dick energy, right?
Yes, that is the definition.
No matter what Stormy Daniels says. All right. So that's all the politics you need to know about this morning, because it is Friday. We're not going too heavily into that stuff. Here's something interesting. A drug has increased the lifespan of laboratory rats by nearly 25%. Do you want to live 25% longer? Well, they hope that this can slow human aging too. The treated mice were known as supermodel grannies in the lab because of their youthful appearance. Yep, they were healthier, stronger, and developed fewer cancers than their unmedicated peers. The drug is already being tested in people, but whether it'll have the same anti-aging effect is unknown. Scientists have long known the aging process is malleable. Laboratory animals live longer if you significantly cut the amount of food that they eat. Now the field of aging research is booming, as researchers are trying to uncover and manipulate the molecular processes of aging. So they are already testing it on people, but they haven't said who. Sure. Definitely sure. They're testing it on her and Jane Fonda. Madonna didn't get her. She didn't get her injections. Right? Seen what she looks like. Yes, sis.
Why do people want to live forever?
I don't know, but 25% longer, Sims, if you could look the age that you are now for an extra 25 years, come on.
It would be great, I guess.
Because you always think you're going to get that time at the end of your life. Imagine you can get it now. Imagine you can have 25 more years of being where you are now. Who would say no to that?
Me.
Why?
Because life, okay, this is
Why?
just maybe because I don't like adulting, right? And right now I'm just like, can I go back to just being 16, not paying bills, not worried about anything? And then now you're telling me there's 25 more years where I'll look like this, but my stresses, oh,
The stresses.
no.
Yeah, you should watch Wednesday's show when we had Jack on, and he played these clips for us of like old people's advice. And they all said the same thing. It's like the relationships you have, it's the fun that you have, it's experiences that you have. All that other stuff that you're talking about is unimportant. Do it right now. I mean, how do you know that you haven't got just another 25 years to live? And I'm using 25 just because we said 25% earlier, but it could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 20, it could be 100. You don't know how long you've got, but every minute now is the best you're ever going to be. So enjoy it. What the hell? You can't go back and be 16 again. You can't. There's no way. So be where you are now and enjoy it the most. Because there is going to be a day where you're going to be like, oh, the leg is sore, the asshole, the teeth, whatever, you know? Like now, this is the time. So anyway, they're testing this stuff on humans.
Let us know how it goes.
Let us know which humans is more the point.
And,
what if they start looking really terrible?
Don't call me anytime soon. That's what I'm saying.
You don't want this. It's
I really
amazing.
don't. I think I'm okay. I think I'm embracing aging and just like loving the fact that like, yeah, this might be like the best years of my life, but there's still better to come, man. There's wisdom that comes with getting older. I might actually look better when I'm 35 than at 28. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like I don't necessarily want to hold on to, this is the best version of me. No, there's a better version of Simphiwe. And I want to see how she looks like in like 10 years' time. And hopefully I have more money as well. So that would make me want to, maybe when I have less stresses, be like, yeah, let's do the 25.
That's if you're rich when you're old. What if you po?
Let's cut it now.
So Rebellious Roots says, I'm telling you, the Botox and the Ozempic downfall is going to have a knock-on consequence. Yeah, I mean, we don't know yet what the consequences of all these things, the unintended consequences of these are going to be. I mean, they might be terrible. Tato says, girl, you know you age like fine wine.
Thank you.
But this is a good point by Congo Chris. Our mortality is what makes us human. Well, there we go. I mean, it's all in that, right? That the whole word mortality means precisely that. It means it comes to an end at some point, and that's you being human. The Greek pantheon used to envy mankind. So all the gods used to be very jealous of humans because our lives are fleeting. You don't mess with our humanity. All death is certain. And make the most of the time you got, but don't wish for more. Is that what he's trying to say?
I guess so.
I'm going to wish for more. I don't care what you say, Congo Chris. Give no shit about you. Simphiwe is looking like a whole meal, fancy, schmancy.
Thank you.
Look, all these comments, all these very complimentary things for Simphiwe to start a weekend. They'll end up being zombies from The Walking Dead, says Signet. Botox is good, says Hamin. I've been using it for decades. Harry says Botox is great. Just don't worry about it. You don't need anything else. Just lots of Botox. Sure. Pumlani says you can be hot and wise, Simphiwe. That's what you are, I think. I think it's a compliment as well.
Thank you.
Oh, just take it. You were about to argue, right?
No, I was going to say, yes, but I mean, there's more wisdom as you get older with some life experience, you know?
Sure.
That's all. But thank you.
All right. It's very, very interesting. There's stuff going on. IOL have to apologize for something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they so apparently, you know, there's that Gulam account.
Yes.
On X. So this I follow hates
problems.
MK, hates Jacob Zuma, all of that stuff, has been involved in a lot of fights with Duduzile, all that stuff. And apparently IOL revealed who they thought was the person behind this account. 3 separate times, and all 3 times it was wrong. So they basically doxed the wrong person 3 times. The first time it was some businessman in KZN, and this guy comes out, he's like, that's not me. come and check. You can have access to all my internet and all my accounts and everything else. It's not me. So they're like, oh, sorry. Then the second time, they said it was someone in the presidency. And that person, they named this person. That person came out. They're like, that's not me. I'm not involved in this account at all. I don't know what you're talking about. Where's your proof? And they're like, actually, we don't have any. And then there was a third person as well. Like, how embarrassing is that? And I mean, you should be sued, frankly, because you could ruin someone's life forever. Imagine you're just going about your business. You got some little shop or whatever. You suddenly get called like the biggest Jacob Zuma hater, and people are like, you imagine his supporters are like, descend on your shop, ruin your life. And it's all because IOL with Iqbal Serve made a bullshit claim against you.
Yeah.
I would be furious. They should sue. They should definitely sue. Right?
Sure, 3 times. That is hectic.
Anyway, they've gone and blamed a technical error. Yeah, sure.
They must. What happened to making sure, like, that this is the right person before you even publish the article to say, here are receipts, here's what we found, not do the work afterwards on when someone says, hey, this is not me, and then you guys are like,
unbelievable.
Guys, no. You see, I wish I could do impressions, but this is when we need Trump and be like, fake news. Fake news.
You've seen my stamp, right? I've got a stamp that says fake news. I just put that on things.
This is what he's talking about. Like, everything is just fake news. Fake news. Don't believe it. Like, don't believe anything you read, because this is nonsense.
Right. Let us welcome our guest for this morning. It's always nice to have people come and spend some time with us, especially on a Friday. I mean, we had a shark attack survivor yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, last week.
Last week.
He was terrific.
He was great.
And how inspiring. You know, he was so like positive and optimistic, and there was just no bitterness. Let me tell you, if a shark took my leg, I'd be so goddamn grumpy for the rest of my life. I would not be fun to be around.
And the fact that he went back. That's where I'm still
Amazing.
Like, sir, you're a better human than I am.
Well, we have Prins, the comedian, here with us this morning as a Savannah Comics Choice Award-winning South African comic. He has brought laughter to audiences all over the globe. He's even been in Switzerland recently as well, South Korea. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of cool touring and traveling. And you might have seen him in the spotlight on Trevor Noah's Nation Wild, or in his one-man show at Mnet and Showmax. He's also featured in the Netflix film Republic of South... shit. He has a show coming up in Johannesburg tomorrow. We'll tell you all about that in just a second. What a pleasure to have you here. How are you?
Thank you, Gareth.
Yeah, you're good, man.
I'm nice. Up super early for this
Good.
one.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I know you comics where you are up late doing stand-up, and then you have to wake up early and come and spend the morning with us. It's not always the best, combination.
It's a privilege. It takes some doing, but it's a privilege.
So what's been happening, man? It seems like you are setting fire to things.
I'm trying my best, Gareth. I'm trying to set fire to things. I've got a tour going on, which I'm taking all around the country. Well, we call it a tour, but it's not a tour in like the American sense where you like.
So you're not like you're Beyonce and you have a makeup artist and a hair person.
And you're going city to city.
It would be a waste to have a hair person with you.
No. Yeah, I messed up today. I didn't know I was going to have to take that.
So you don't have like a trailer and and lighting and sound people.
No shame, it's not like that. You see, this is the South African context. So even when you say tour, like in America, if you say tour or the UK, I'm assuming that from this venue, this city to the next city to the next city to the next city. But this tour is more like every month I go somewhere and then I come home. And I go somewhere and I come home again. It's a tour. It's like it's not.
Simphiwe's like that doesn't sound fun at all. That sounds like work, but it is work.
Pieces. Yeah.
I mean, listen. Where are your favorite places to play? Because South Africa has some nice crowds and some cities it's fun to be in, and other places are shit. I mean, like if someone said to me, "You must go tomorrow." And you're going to DJ in Welkom, I'd say, you know what? I don't really need to. It's okay.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the people. The good people have actually, they're no good people. I take it back. But no, I wouldn't want to go to Welkom. Would you?
I think I'm good anyway. I'm pretty flexible as a comedian. Where I do struggle, not in terms of performance, but just in terms of like finding my feet and base, like in Durban.
Oh, yeah,
I struggle in Durban to
Can you speak
get
Zulu?
my people. No.
Yeah, that's
You
why.
don't speak Zulu, but also they're cheap. Now everyone's coming under some fire this morning, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to apologize for it. Durban people, like I remember friends of mine used to organize concerts with like big international acts. They used to say they cannot do Durban because people don't spend money. They either don't have it or they don't want to spend it.
Yeah.
And trust me, like you think Cape Town and Joburg are weird when it comes to weather. Durban, everything must always be minimum 25 degrees.
Yeah.
The sun must be out. There must be no wind. Otherwise, Durban people don't do anything.
Yeah, a bit of rain and it's
Yes,
like
sis,
even
they-
if they bought
they give up.
tickets,
They
they
give
just
up.
Yeah,
like
they won't go.
nah.
No, they give up.
And I'm like, I don't get Durban, but the rest of South Africa, no, I'm fine. I even do Bloemfontein. I do
Okay.
Kimberley. I just did
Alright.
Kimberley now.
How was that?
Do you know what's nice about small towns is that they actually like come to the shows with like the big googly eyes and
Oh,
like
wow,
they
you're a
want
star.
yeah,
Because you're the first thing that's happened in Kimberley for ages.
since the big hole.
No, but I mean, that is true. And I do have to say for South Africa, we have, in these little towns, we have communities of people who really enjoy being entertained.
Yeah.
Like they don't take it for granted because they have to wait for someone to come to them.
Yeah.
It's not like in Joburg where you're like, "Ugh, I could go out tonight. There are about 10 places I could go to, but I don't think I will."
Yeah.
You know, like we're a bit jaded and ungrateful.
Yeah. I think in a small town, if you can get the word out, if you can have a decent marketing, you know, a banner, posters, word out, like your support should generally be quite good. Because once word of mouth spreads, it like covers the town. If you can do it well, it covers the town.
But you're doing Joburg tomorrow.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so where's that? So people go to
It's
that
in a nice, cozy venue. It's called the Bioscope. It's at 44 Stanley.
That's very nice.
Nice.
I've been there before. It's a really nice little place.
Very nice little place.
Not so little. I mean, you could fit like 100 people in there.
Yeah, I think it's between 60 and 100 if you do
Yeah.
it well. But what I like about it is it's got popcorn.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in a mini little theater.
Yeah, it's like an
Okay.
old school
Artsy.
movie
So
theater. Yeah.
is the popcorn there to help if there's any silence?
Yeah, because then you can just.
Have
you're
you ever,
eating. That's
have
the
you ever
problem
had,
here.
have you ever had someone hit on you after a show because they thought you were so funny and they're like, "Hi."
Oh, they did the, are you so funny?
Yeah.
Do you know what I have had? I'll tell you one memory I remember is I was performing at Kitchener's one night and I'd done particularly well because there were very popular comedians on the lineup that night. For some reason, they chose to put me last.
Oh, don't take some credit. You were on a good lineup.
I was on a good lineup.
It wasn't
but,
just those other popular comedians.
but then I killed it. So I killed it at the end. And
Yeah.
I think there was like, you know, Brahm has a lot of these students. And there's one girl who came to me, stood in front of me, looked at me with like the googly eyes and what, and couldn't say anything.
Ah.
A friend had to be like, "You were so amazing. We really enjoyed you." And she was just there like, you know,
Wow.
you know that Puss in Boots face.
Yeah, lovely.
Just in
I
Puss in
like
Boots
that.
face. And I was like, okay.
Okay. That's very nice.
So that's happened. Gareth, can I just say, you guys were talking about aging earlier
Yeah.
on. And you know, they say black don't crack.
Yeah.
But I don't think you crack either, Gareth.
Yes, sis, I'm trying.
You haven't cracked in a while.
I'm holding it together. But no. Listen, I there's a reason I don't watch the show. There's a reason I'm on the show.
Zoom into
I
your
can't,
info.
I can't stand it. No, you know what? That's nice of you, but I don't think. I think it's just like stress-free living. I don't let stuff upset me, and I think so many people. I don't know that this is the key. I mean, maybe I'm just lucky. And sometimes I think when I look in the mirror, I'm not lucky, but I don't get stressed about dumb shit. I like if people, and I watch, I used to be like one of those people. I used to get upset in traffic. I used to get huge road rage. And now I just listen to podcasts, laugh, think about what I got to do that day, use it almost like meditation time. And people don't upset me anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just really not. I can't tell you the last time I was really cross.
Yeah.
I think that's
I never understand when people get mad at taxis in Johannesburg. I'm like, how long have you been in Joburg for? You must be new, right? Like, no, I've been here for 20 years, 20 years, and you're complaining about taxis.
Yeah.
No, man, you need to
waste of
you need to
energy.
foresee a taxi's.
And-
You're like, this guy's probably gonna stop right here.
And
Let
as
me
I-
slow down.
And as I've told so many people, guess who's going to let you in if you can't get into a lane? The taxi.
Yeah,
Nobody
they're actually
else.
very
So you
understanding
just,
sometimes.
sometimes you need those people.
Yeah.
Trust me. Okay, so you've done some pretty high-profile stuff here. I mean, that Nationwide. What was that experience like?
So Trevor Noah's Nationwide, it's a show done by Mnet,
Yeah, I saw the
DSTV.
posters. I haven't watched it though, but I've seen them.
Yeah, it's 12 episodes, I think. 12 or 13 episodes. Each episode has a different comedian in it.
Okay.
Trevor Noah comes out, he does some jokes, he introduces you, you come on, you do your set. I think they have it playing on Showmax and DSTV. That was a great experience.
You get to spend some time with Trevor?
Weirdly enough, no.
Yeah, you see, too big a star now. It's too important. But that, I mean, that's a nice show to be on because he lends credibility to it. More people will watch it.
Yeah.
Gets you some interesting
They actually
ideas,
don't
gigs.
watch it.
They don't watch it?
No.
Really? So nobody's seen the show?
No, they don't watch it. They don't watch it.
That's the funniest thing I've heard.
It.
This is a comedy show. No one watches it.
Do you know what some people even told me? They're like, dude, there was 12 episodes. Your episode was like episode 11. I watched the first 4 and I was like, nah.
Wow, that's bad.
So they never even
And
got
because
to
it's on
me.
Showmax, what do people have to subscribe to the show, or if they've got a Showmax account, they can watch it for free?
Yeah, so if you have a Showmax account, you can possibly watch it. Not possibly. You suppose you can watch
Just go
it.
straight to episode 11.
Yeah, do that. Go
skip
straight to
those.
episode 11. Don't deal with the other people.
Do you think there's too much variety, too much choice? People are spoiled for choice now, so they don't have to watch these shows. I often think, like the shows I was on, like Idols, for example, where we had incredible ratings.
Yeah.
I mean, we were, it was the most popular show in the
The
country.
good old days.
But I think it was because there wasn't anything else. And people didn't have 100 different choices. We had like 4 channels.
That's true. That's true. I also feel like, no offense to Showmax, but I think the difference between Netflix and Showmax is when Netflix has a show, they do very well algorithmically and marketing wise to let you know that we've got this big show. You have to watch it. You have to watch. They put it on the banner. You have to watch it. Whereas I don't think Showmax does the same. I think they're trying. And I think they're trying, but I think it's easy to have a show on. Like I have a one-man show on Showmax, and I mean, again, unless I tell you it's there, you'd never know.
It's a very big deal to have a one-man show on a channel like that. It's a big deal. I mean, that's regarded as the sign of success anywhere in the world for a comedian. But I think audiences are so fragmented now. It's so difficult to say that you have X, Y, or Z audience because they change their mind like that. And for TV, it must be so difficult because producing those things is expensive. And then, 2,000 people watch it. And it's like, ooh, what did we put this money towards? It's no bad reflection on you. It's no bad reflection on the channel even. It's just that people have options.
For days.
Yeah.
YouTube especially. Like my latest special, I actually just put it straight onto YouTube.
Really?
Because I'm like, this is a shareable link. You ever ask me about my comedy, I send you a link, boom, you're in the game. I don't need to tell you to go get a subscription to no, none of that.
Melissa says, I've watched it, Shem.
That's one.
Is that all?
That's
on,
one
say a
person
punchline or
saying one.
That's what she's saying. I'm like, say a line from the show.
I'm sorry. Like the funniest thing is the way that Prince just went, no one's watching.
No
one watched
Well, now you know
show.
there's one person you can say.
When people bump into me on the street, they're more likely to know me from a show that I did called Guy Code.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I'm a Guy Code. People would still meet me and they'd be like, oh, snap, Guy Code. Because I had this line, what happens on Guy Code stays on Guy Code.
Right.
From the
Problematic.
From the Fight Club movie. Which is cool. But no one ever says, oh, Prince from Unnecessary on Showmax. Never. Never. Prince from Trevor Noah's Nation. Never.
Yeah.
Not even Trevor Noah says that. Hey, Prince from
So Signet says, I love South African comedy. We've got some real talent. We do. I always like to check in with comedians who I have on the show because I don't go to these shows much anymore. I always love it when I'm there. But I leaving the house, I'm just not going to do it.
Post-COVID stuff.
Yeah, but once I'm there, I'm like, wow, this is actually really good. And you leave and you've laughed so much, your stomach hurts. And we do have brilliant comedians, but do you think we have too many or too few at the moment? Because I know we've got a problem with venues. Like there aren't that many places where stand-up comics can do their thing.
I think industry is our problem at the moment. I don't think there's too many or too little comics because we spread out, Vernac comedians are in the Vernac
Sure.
space. Afrikaans comedians are in the Afrikaans space. And then obviously each people in their different cities. So we all have a chance. I think industry is the problem. Like after COVID, comedy's become a very individualistic effort. I don't even know if I'm answering the question yet,
No,
but I'm
no,
just
but what
speaking.
do you mean by that? Like how did your audience look? What do they like?
My audience.
Yeah.
Okay, so my
What do you
audience
think
is
your niche is?
it's still a growing audience. Typically, the default setting would be for me to have a colored audience.
No,
but that's not.
You wouldn't say with the accent, hey?
But that's not what I want.
What the heck? No.
What the heck? No, that's not what I want though.
Okay.
I appeal to so much. My comedy appeals to. Like I performed in, if you look at the bio, Switzerland, South Korea.
No, listen, dude, your creds are great. I'm not trying to like trap you here. I think that it's interesting. You brought up Vernac, so that's obviously one of the barriers. Like if you're doing comedy in Zulu, you're going to attract a certain crowd.
Yes,
and those people are probably going to love the other Zulu comics too. Right? So that's one division which you can't do anything about if you don't speak Zulu. But I think in South Africa, it's weird how some comics are able to just make everyone laugh because I think humor is universal.
Yeah.
So if you can't understand, obviously that's a major barrier. But I've seen guys who can make the Indian crowd laugh, the white people, the black people.
It's me. You're looking at me.
Yeah, that's good shit. So own it. That's very good.
Yeah.
You should be proud of that. That's fantastic.
But let me tell you, so before COVID, South Africa had like good industry, meaning that we had 3 comedy clubs.
Yeah.
It was Parker's Comedy Club, Goliath Comedy Club, Cape Town Comedy Club, and a few other ones that popped up and went. We had a good comedy circuit, meaning that we had established open mic gigs like your Kitcheners, Monday Night Comedy. So you knew that if you came into comedy, you started the open mic gig, there's natural progression. From there, you're going to go to Goliath and Goliath, you play at the box. From there, you go to the clubs, Parker's Comedy Club. And from there, everyone knows you and it's time for your one-man show, right? So that's that natural corporate comedy ladder that you climb. Post-COVID, there's no such ladder. So each comedian is doing his own thing by himself.
I see what you mean.
So there's no industry currently, and I think there's a 10% group of comedians who people know and who are successful, and then I think there's 90% of comedians who are out there.
How did you get into this? Because it's not like this is some easy job that you go, oh, well, I can do that for money. First of all, it takes a while to earn the money.
Yeah.
Second of all, it takes all the confidence in the world to go up in front of an audience on stage and start trying to make them laugh. And South Africans, we know comedy. We've got a good sense of humor, but we're not going to sit there and go, if we don't think it's funny. So it's tough. Well, how did you get into this? How did you start?
Very interesting. So I actually went to university. I do have a degree in BCom Law and Management.
Sure. Okay.
For what it's worth.
Man is...
for what it's worth. And while I was at university actually studying, a lot of my peers would always say, dude, you're so funny, you should do comedy. It was annoying at first because I'm studying what you're studying. Why are you trying to chase me away?
that's like those people who
One
say,
less competition.
Yeah, you look great, but they don't.
Yeah. So I'm at university and people kept saying, dude, you should do comedy. So I started to sneakily do comedy. Like, so I'd be like on committees, and then the committees would need to like maybe present something to the first years when they come in. And that's when I'd sneak in, like, so I had a little drug talk that I did to tell them about drugs on campus, their first years. So then I snuck in some comedy
Did you teach them about how drugs are good or drugs are bad?
I actually played them an Eminem song, like a Slim Shady song. And I'm like, listen to this song. Now, you see everything he said in that song? All of it was bad. You heard that? Use your drugs responsibly, okay? Everybody stop at Hubley. Can we do that?
Yeah, it's a dark path. Once you start with a Hubley, it's downhill. By the end of that, you're going to be doing heroin within a week.
No, like, what's he doing with a light bulb?
Yeah, what's that stuff called? What's that stuff that they crocodile?
Oh snap! What's that?
That's that fucking terrible. Haven't you heard?
I've heard of it.
I think it's an urban legend. To be perfectly frank, it might be bullshit.
Yeah.
But there's this stuff that they spoke about 3-4 years ago. Someone said they like inject this stuff, and then it like rots your skin.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. There's some dodgy shit.
So why
out
would
there.
you do that?
I don't know.
But okay, so I'm at university, then I start sneaking in, and then university have house events and stuff, and so I start emceeing here,
Which
emceing
university, by
there.
the way?
Rhodes. I was at Rhodes in Grahamstown. Artsy,
But
very artsy.
Big
most
drinking
of,
campus.
Yeah, I was
there.
gonna say they were drunk
Massive.
most of the time.
Massive.
Big drinking.
Massive. When I went to university, we were number 2 in the world per capita alcohol consumption.
I don't think it's changed.
That's right.
You think we're still there?
I don't think it's
I
changed.
remember, like 12 years ago, they lost the title to some American city, and the whole of Grahamstown was in uproar. They were like, "We have to get the
You had to
title
get
back."
it back.
That's it. Yeah,
That's
they
wild.
drank. I think they all put their shoulder to the wheel. They drank for like a year, and they got it back.
They got it back.
Well
Unbelievable.
done,
Now they're
Rhodes.
2-time
Well done,
world
Grahamstown.
champions.
Someone says here, Melissa says, by the way, Prince, for one, you were skinny as fuck on that show that I saw.
Hell yeah.
Success looks good on you.
I lost the hair, but I gained some weight.
I like that.
I take that trade any day, though.
Oh,
I'll
that's
take
good.
it any day.
Okay, very, very good.
Nice.
So you did this at varsity, and then from there it became like a real serious thing.
So from there, I was like, okay, cool. I was good at it, obviously.
Sure.
And people obviously recognized it instantly. So it was up to me to make the decision. So I decided to finish the degree first, just for good measure. And from there, I moved to Johannesburg to actually do comedy.
And of course, you have never looked back and gone, well, law would have been more fun. Said no one ever.
I started to realize why I did law. Like I took a deep dive within myself, and I was like, oh my goodness, I think I wanted to be a lawyer because the lawyer in American programs jumps up and goes, Your Honor, I object. So in essence, I wanted to be a performer. I just didn't know where I wanted to perform.
Yes. I think a lot of people watched those shows like Boston Legal and Ally McBeal and Suits.
Yeah.
And they thought, this looks cool. But real life lawyers are not that cool.
Not at all.
And I studied law and I never ended up practicing. Thank God. Can you imagine what a terrible lawyer I would have been? And law is, a lot of it is boring. You know this.
Yeah.
I mean, like you've seen these people. By the way, to anybody who's listening to us and watching us now who is a lawyer, I mean, you have my eternal sympathy because I partook in a small bit of your witchcraft once.
Mm-hmm.
But these buildings here in Sandton that are all these big law offices, people are slaving through the night. You see lights on there.
Yeah.
3 a.m, drafting stuff. That's
It's
no
hectic.
life. It's no life.
Yeah. Some of it is interesting. I mean, I used to enjoy case law, which is because obviously all law is precedent. So any situation that happens now, we look back to find similar situations so that we can make our deductions. So case law is actually quite nice because it's real life situations.
You hear about like this lady who had her cow stolen by this guy.
Yeah.
And
That's kind of cool. That's cool. But doing the paperwork for that is now the terrible part. And the reading, that's the terrible part.
Grant says, rubbish, Gareth. I could absolutely see you in a law wig. We don't wear wigs in South Africa,
No,
but yes.
we don't do that.
Hey, listen, I heard such a great story the other day. You know when someone says they're too busy?
Yes.
Like if you ask someone, and there's that brilliant saying that if you want something done, ask a busy person. Right?
Yes.
So I heard the story about the Emperor Hadrian, the Roman emperor. So he was riding out to visit a detachment of troops that had just come back from the Danube War. And he was riding in Campania in Italy. And there was a lady there. What made me think of this is the lady in the cow. This peasant woman. And she had gone to all the people, the magistrate, the aedile, the praetor, the quaestor, everybody she had to try and get relief because her cow had been butchered by the army and she'd never been paid back. And she demanded compensation from the state. So she saw the emperor and she like went straight up to him and his horse reared up and she said, Emperor. And he went, yes. She said, I have a bone to pick with you. You've got to solve a problem for me. And he said, look, I'm in a huge hurry. What is it? She goes, look, I had a cow and it was butchered by your soldiers and now I demand compensation from the state. And he said, listen, lady, I mean, I'm the emperor of Rome. There are millions of people that I have to look after. I'm on my way to visit the army. We've got important things to do. And she looked at him and she said, if you are too busy for me, you are too busy to be emperor.
Whoa.
And he stopped everything, sorted out her problem, and then went to the
Oh, she got him with that
little
good.
lesson of humility. Isn't that a great story?
Yeah.
Like, so someone says to you, I'm too busy for you. You're like,
Well, let me remind you.
I'll tell you about Hadrian, the Emperor of Rome. Yeah,
You're too busy to drive that car of yours.
I love that
Say
story.
anything.
I love that story. To be fair, really, Richard says, whoever actually uses a BCom business degree? I got one, and to this day, I've never used it. I think, why did I do this?
Well, there you have it.
Hey, listen, sometimes you go to university to learn about learning. Sometimes you don't go to get a job.
I agree.
I think we've lost something.
Yeah.
People used to go to university so that they could know things about the world and they could be around other learned people.
Yes.
It wasn't about getting a qualification so you could get a job, right?
I try to explain that to my parents a lot, because I think sometimes there's other people who go, don't you think your son's degree is a bit wasted? And I'm like, no, like the things that I've learned in my degree has literally done so much for me.
Have your parents bought this argument, by the way?
I think they understand it more and more each time. When I tell them I drafted a proposal, if I said I put together a budget for a funding application, I think that's when they're like, oh snap, you. And if I had to show it to you on the laptop, you're like, oh, this is actually quite intricate. It's got line items. I'm like, that's the accounting part of the BCom.
But that's funny that you have to explain it to them, because I think for a lot of parents, it's like, we're going to put up money so that you can go and get a degree so that you can get the best possible job.
So that you could become
right. And I think that we've got to also remind people in this country that isn't a surefire thing. I mean, like, we know how many graduates there are who can't get work.
Yeah.
You're lucky because you had choices, right? Because you're talented and you're clever.
Yeah.
So that's nice. You could become a lawyer, you could have gone into business, and you could have done stand-up, and you chose the most interesting of the three.
Yep.
Yeah.
The toughest one. I chose the toughest
the toughest
decision.
one
by
far.
Yeah.
And out of all the performing arts, it's the hardest one of all too.
I think it's the most interesting, it's the most fragile.
Look at
Comedy is so fragile.
Look at those fucking jugglers. They jugglers. There's no stress. They got regular work.
Sometimes they use knives. Though.
It's so easy to be a juggler. I have no respect for
they
jugglers.
Just change outfits.
Sometimes they use knives with flames, and I'm like, okay, this is getting risky.
Yeah. If they die, it's cool. Next one.
I love it. Grant says, BComs are for people who had no idea what they wanted, so parents just felt justified. At least my child's got tertiary education. That's what my parents said to me, you have to go and study. I asked them, what? They're like, I don't know, just go and study.
Yeah.
I think that's a big problem. We must get people back to like studying so that you can be learned.
And gap years.
You like gap years. You think that's the thing?
I have a younger brother. I encouraged him, take a gap year. Go and work, do stuff. And at the end of that year, I feel like you'll be in a better place to know exactly what you want to do. And it worked. It worked for him. He's doing well right now.
Listen, some of these Gen Zs, again, I'm casting shade. They don't want to work. So you put them out into the world and they're like upset that they're not the CEO after 3 months.
Yeah. Oh yeah, or they're not earning 50,000 with a car allowance.
And then they go sell Bitcoin and Forex on Facebook.
Or OnlyFans.
Oh, snap. That's an option. That's an option too.
Like pretty much my answer to everybody now who wants a job is like, send your CV. But have you thought about it?
I mean, you don't have to show everything. Just the
toes.
Just the minimum amount.
You can do the feet stuff. There's lots of money in that. Everybody knows.
No.
It's the only problem is like for a lot of people, the gap year that you're talking about means that someone else has to pay for it. That's bullshit. You got to go out there and like do little piece jobs.
Yes. And look, with a gap year, you still get to live in your parents' house.
Yeah.
That's the fortunate thing about a gap year. Free accommodation, free food, and you get to start your working life in a nice space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I said, after that year, you're more likely to know exactly what you want to do, and then you do it, and you do it well.
Yeah, but these fucking jugglers.
No.
Keeping us entertained at the robots.
Listen, the robots have got some serious performers. The other day, I stopped on, I think it was William Nicol, now Winnie Madikizela Mandela Drive.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And there were 4 guys with boxes and they did this dance. I was like, shit, who needs to go to the theater?
Yeah.
This is better and it's short. because
the timing is impeccable.
It has to be robot.
They stop just before the robot turns green again, so they can
Yes.
still walk to your car and ask for money.
Yes.
And then it's long enough for them to walk when the robot is red.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly. I mean, it's a hell of a thing.
It's also time to the T.
Amazing, right?
Because if you overperform, you can't collect.
Yes, that's the thing. And they all do it. They do the and then they all walk on the various lanes.
I'm
and you're
very
and I
impressed
always
with
feel
that.
bad because I'm like, this was actually great. I wish I could give you a standing ovation, but I don't carry cash. So
every now and then they do somersaults.
I think it's great. Yeah. And these are little kids. Some of them are like 7, 8 years old, and they are better than anyone I've seen doing like major events, opening of World Cups and things. Telling you, it's good stuff. All right, so you've got your show at the Bioscope, which is tomorrow. There's still tickets available?
There are still tickets available.
Where do we get them?
You can get them on the Bioscope website, which is www.thebioscope.co.za. And if all else fails, just come to the venue and
you
just
can always
hope for the
bribe.
best. Yeah, we'll make a plan. We'll do a second show with as many of you.
There we go. You see, that's nice.
Just say we get people. I'm like, honey,
this
you're
guy's
coming.
willing to put on an extra show if you just pitch up and it's full already. That's pretty cool.
So tomorrow night, 8:00 at the Bioscope. Yeah.
Very nice. And make a night of it. So you get popcorn, you go out for dinner beforehand, and you got a nice little show afterwards,
And by the way, dinner, you do it right there at 44 Stanley.
Oh, yes, because there are all kinds of places.
Yeah, they've got restaurants, coffee shops, everything.
See, people don't know how to date anymore, Simphiwe. They must do
That
this.
is true. Let
You
me
must
tell
take a woman out and treat her to a whole night.
Testify, brother. Testify, because
Give her
these
dinner.
men
take her
don't
to a
do this
show.
anymore. They're just like, when can I see you? When can you come over? Aye, sugar.
He just
Take
wants
me
a
out on a
sleazy
date.
hookup in an alley. Don't give him that.
No.
Tell him you want dinner and a show.
Yes.
And light, back in the day, they used to light a candle and then you date each other. And then when the candle is done, that's the end of your date.
Is that how it worked?
Yes.
I thought candles were there for light, but you just taught me something.
It was a way for the older people to make sure that the dude leaves before naughty hours. So when the candle is done, he needs to leave.
So what if you get those big candles that you buy now? You basically have the whole week. It's like,
no, they didn't
she's
have
here
that.
for the whole week, everybody. I love it, dude. Have a good show. We will definitely come and take a look. That's tomorrow night. The Bioscope. You can get your tickets there, or just come to the door, as he said. And good for you. I love this. I love that you're not doing law. You'd be so bored and irritated.
Yeah.
This is way more fun.
Alternative universe.
Yeah, this is good shit. All right, everybody. Have a good weekend. If you are drinking, don't drive.
Please.
Yeah, because Simphiwe is going to be on the roads. Are you drinking and driving? You're not driving.
I don't do that.
Aibo.
I don't. I'm a very responsible adult. I just know how to have fun, though.
I feel like I want to have a bit of a ripper this weekend. I feel like I
You
want
deserve
to
it.
do. Yeah, I think I want to do
Let's
something.
go.
Yeah, I'm doing it. Bloody hell.
Okay.
I'm in. We're all in. We're in, right?
Yeah, let's go to
Let's go.
Bloemfontein and watch the Springboks.
Bloemfontein.
Yo, okay.
No, you know how cold that place is right now.
Yo.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
No, thank you. The Free State. I love you, Free State. We haven't said anything shit about you. Not about to start now, but it's very cold there. I'm not going there. And remember, fuck the jugglers.
Ik wil naar een warm land, even op vakantie. Lekker bakken in de zon, daarop wil ik garantie.